Have you ever felt paralyzed by a fear that seems bigger than you? Or maybe you felt like anxiety took over your day, causing you to lose control? I want you to know that you are not alone. All of us, at some point, have faced these overwhelming feelings that make us doubt ourselves and our place in the world. This is part of the human experience. Now, imagine yourself in a familiar situation, an important presentation, a delicate conversation, or even the simple idea of changing something in your life. The heart races, the breathing becomes fast, and a wave of worries invades your mind. What if I fail? What if people laugh at me? These thoughts, like shadows, blind us to the possibilities that lie right in front of us. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great leaders of the Roman Empire, faced wars and crises. He left us lessons that echo to this day. He said that fear and anxiety are natural, but they don't need to control us. Life is like a play, he reflected. It doesn't matter how many scenes unfold, it's how you play them. Today, let's embark together on a profound journey to understand anxiety and fear, their roots, their consequences, and most importantly, how we can face them with courage and wisdom. Get ready to discover not only what these feelings mean, but how you can turn them into a driving force in your life. But first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Here on the channel you will find a multitude of videos that will make you think differently about how to face the problems of your day-to-day, giving you wisdom and resilience. Also, don't forget to like this video, so we can reach and help more people who today are facing these same problems of fear and anxiety. First, let's clarify an important point: anxiety and fear. While these terms are used interchangeably, they are not quite the same thing. Fear is a response to an immediate threat, a reaction to something present and concrete. On the other hand, anxiety is the anticipation of a future danger, often something that is not even real. What about you? Have you ever stopped to think how many times you felt anxiety about something that didn't even happen? This feeling of anticipation is exhausting. Understanding these nuances is the first step in learning how to deal with these emotions. We live in a society where pressure is constant. We have to be the best at work, have perfect relationships, always be available on social networks. It's no wonder that anxiety levels are skyrocketing. Do you identify with this pressure? Do you feel like you need to be everywhere, doing everything at the same time? Then this theme is for you. Understanding the impact of anxiety on our mental and physical health is crucial so that we can seek solutions together. Believe me, this is a problem that can be faced, but we need to act consciously. Stoic philosophy, practiced by great thinkers such as Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, sheds light on how we can deal with fear and anxiety. Stoicism teaches us to separate what is under our control and what is not. And you know what's most liberating? When we focus on what we can control, we develop resilience and find peace. Imagine this: what if you could stop worrying about what you can't change? How much time and energy would you save? This is the power of Stoicism, and throughout this video, we'll explore how to apply it to our lives. Now that we understand what anxiety and fear are, we need to dig a little deeper to understand how they arise and how they manifest in our lives. For this, it is essential to explore the causes and triggers. Anxiety can be caused by a variety of reasons. It is often rooted in worries about the future, whether in relation to work, money, or even emotional issues. But stop for a second and think, how much of this anxiety is caused by trying to control something that is beyond our capabilities? The relentless quest for control in a chaotic world can be exhausting. Let's reflect a little on our environment. Social pressures, economic uncertainties, family expectations. All of this can be fuel for anxiety. In addition, the constant bombardment of information on social networks and in the media contributes to a mental overload that seems to be impossible to turn off. Have you ever felt like the world is always pushing you to be more, to do more? This feeling is one of the causes of the exponential increase in anxiety. Fear, on the other hand, is a more instinctive and physical emotion. It acts as a warning of imminent dangers, causing reactions in the body such as increased heart rate and accelerated breathing. But here's the problem: fear is often disproportionate to the real threat. Now, let's differentiate between types of fear. Rational fear protects us from situations of real danger, such as crossing a busy street without looking. Irrational fear, on the other hand, prevents us from acting in the face of hypothetical scenarios, such as the constant fear of failure. Here is the invitation for you: when you feel fear, ask yourself if it is really justifiable or if it is being exaggerated by your mind. Dale Carnegie, in his classic book How to Avoid Worry and Start Living, brings a powerful perspective. He reminds us that often, the fears we harbor never come true. Carnegie suggests that we analyze our concerns coldly and accept the worst-case scenario. From that point, we can work to improve the situation. Reflect on the next fear that arises. What's the worst that can happen? You will often find that the answer is not as scary as it seemed. When the brain perceives a threat, it releases hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol. These hormones prepare the body for a fight or flight response. And that's why, when we're anxious, we feel a series of physical symptoms. The heart races, breathing becomes short, and the muscles tense up. Have you ever experienced that feeling of being on alert, even if there is no imminent danger? This is your body preparing to fight or flee, even if the threat is something abstract, such as a worry or a negative thought. The fight or flight response is a survival mechanism inherited from our ancestors. Imagine a primitive human being facing a predator. He needed an immediate reaction to escape or fight for his life. This mechanism was essential for the survival of our species. This instinctive response, which was vital to our ancestors, has become dysfunctional in many ways in the modern world. Evolution has shaped us to react quickly to physical dangers, but in a society where the challenges are more psychological, such as worries about the future, this mechanism ends up harming us. Have you ever stopped to think that the fear and anxiety you feel are actually echoes of an evolutionary heritage? Our minds continue to react to abstract challenges with the same intensity that our ancestors faced life and death threats. The Stoic philosopher Seneca offers us a powerful reflection. He said that anxiety does not alleviate the suffering of the future, it only depletes our energy in the present. It's a trap we all fall into. We worry so much about what might happen that we forget to live in the moment. Now that we understand how anxiety and fear work in our brains, let's explore how Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, can help us face these emotions more wisely and calmly. The Stoics believe that we shouldn't worry about what we can't control. Epictetus, one of the great masters of Stoicism, taught that the key to serenity is to understand that some things depend on us, while others don't. And anxiety often arises when we try to control the uncontrollable. Imagine if you could release the weight of worrying about what is beyond your reach. How would that change your life? This is the first Stoic principle: focus on the things you can change and accept what you can't. Acceptance is one of the great Stoic virtues. It is not a question of resignation, but of active acceptance. When we accept what we can't control, we stop wasting energy on useless worries and start focusing our efforts on the actions that really make a difference. For example, you can't control how people will react to your actions, but you can control how you react to circumstances. This is the essence of Stoic acceptance. Think about the worries that plague you right now. How many of them are out of your control? And how many could be solved with a change of perspective or attitude? This is the power of Epictetus' teaching. Stoicism is not just an abstract philosophy, it offers concrete practices to deal with anxiety on a daily basis. Among these practices, meditation and daily reflection are powerful tools. By engaging in moments of introspection, we can assess our concerns more rationally and focus on the present. How about starting your day with a little reflection? Ask yourself, what is under my control today? This simple exercise can help you stay focused on what really matters, instead of getting lost in worries about the future. A common Stoic practice is the morning exercise, where, as we begin the day, we reflect on the challenges we may face and mentally prepare ourselves to accept them with serenity. This type of meditation gives us mental clarity, helping us to deal with situations in a more balanced way. Now that we've delved into the philosophical and neurological roots of anxiety and fear, it's time to explore practical strategies you can use in your day-to-day life to address them more effectively. One of the simplest and most effective ways to control anxiety is through conscious breathing. When we are anxious, our breathing tends to be shallow and rapid, which only amplifies the physical symptoms of anxiety. Practicing deep breathing techniques, such as diaphragmatic breathing, can help calm the nervous system and bring the mind back to the present. Do a quick exercise with me right now. Inhale deeply through your nose, count to 4, hold for a few seconds, and then exhale slowly through your mouth. How do you feel? This simple act can make a huge difference in times of stress. Mindful breathing not only helps calm the body, but also the mind. When you slow down your breathing, it sends signals to the brain that you're safe, interrupting the fight or flight response. This is a powerful biological trick that you can use at any time to reduce anxiety. Another powerful strategy to combat anxiety is cognitive restructuring. This technique, developed by psychologist Aaron T. Beck, is essentially about changing the way we think. Anxiety is often born from distorted or exaggerated thought patterns, which make us see a situation worse than it really is. You know that negative thought that pops up in your mind, like "I'll never be able to do this"? Cognitive restructuring teaches us to question these statements. Instead of accepting these assumptions as absolute truths, ask yourself, is this really true? What evidence do I have that I will fail? Beck suggests that when we identify automatic negative thoughts, we should question them rationally. One of the most effective methods is to ask yourself, is this thinking based on facts or assumptions? Often, we will find that our mind exaggerates threats or creates disproportionate scenarios. For example, imagine you're about to give a presentation and you think, everyone will judge me if I make a mistake. By reframing this thinking, you can conclude that, in reality, people are more focused on their own concerns and that a small mistake will not be the end of the world. This process helps relieve pressure and anxiety. Gradual coping is another practical technique for dealing with fear. Instead of trying to avoid what scares us, the idea is to expose ourselves to these fears in a controlled and progressive way. This helps desensitize the mind and body, decreasing the intensity of fear reactions over time. Have you ever avoided a situation because it scared you? Perhaps public speaking, facing a career change, or resolving a conflicting situation. Gradual coping allows you to confront these fears little by little, building your confidence with each step. Imagine that you have a great fear of public speaking. Instead of throwing yourself all at once into a situation with a large audience, you can start by speaking to a small group of friends or colleagues. Over time, as your confidence grows, you can expand your audience. This gradual process not only helps to deal with fear, but also reinforces resilience. By taking small steps, you turn fear into an opportunity for growth, and over time, it loses its power of control over you. Changing the way we view fear can transform the way we live. Fear is often seen as an enemy, but what if we start to look at it as an ally? This shift in perspective can be revolutionary in our journey against anxiety. Fear, at its core, is a sign that something important is at stake. It alerts us to the challenges we need to face, and instead of running away from or avoiding them, we can use this emotion as a way to better prepare ourselves. Think of fear as a counselor, not an enemy. If we look at fear in this way, it stops being something that paralyzes us and becomes something that drives us. When fear arises, instead of avoiding it, ask yourself, what is this fear trying to teach me? For example, if you're anxious before a job interview, that anxiety may be the impetus you're missing to better prepare, review your answers, and practice your posture. If we know how to channel anxiety constructively, it can help us achieve better results. Marcus Aurelius, in his Stoic Reflections, wrote that the obstacle is the path. This means that instead of avoiding challenges, we should see them as opportunities to develop virtues such as courage, patience, and resilience. What does this mean for you in your life today? If we are constantly trying to avoid discomfort, we miss the chance to grow. Face challenges as part of your journey, and you will find that they are what shape your character. If we change our perspective and start seeing challenges as opportunities, fear loses its ability to paralyze us. Every obstacle faced, every fear overcome, is a chance to become stronger and more resilient people. One of the biggest causes of anxiety is the fear of uncertainty. We want to control everything, predict the future, and make sure everything goes according to plan. But the truth is that uncertainty is part of life. And to live more fully, we need to learn to make peace with it. Uncertainty, contrary to what many think, is not something to be feared. Accepting that we can't predict everything gives us freedom. When we accept uncertainty, we stop fighting against what we cannot control, and this gives us inner peace. Stop for a moment and think, how many times have you tried to control the uncontrollable? And how many of these concerns have actually materialized? Accepting that uncertainty is an inevitable part of life frees us from this exhausting cycle of anxiety. Stoic philosophy teaches that acceptance is one of the keys to inner peace. When we accept what we cannot change, we avoid unnecessary suffering. Epictetus reminds us that it is not external events that affect us, but rather our perception of them. Marcus Aurelius reinforces this idea with a powerful quote, "You have power over your mind, not over external events." Realize this, and you will find the strength. This phrase is a true anchor of Stoic wisdom. By controlling our reactions, thoughts, and attitudes, we can find strength and serenity, even when everything around us seems out of control. After all, the real power is within us. One way to deal with uncertainty is to practice gratitude. When we focus on what we have, instead of worrying about what could go wrong, our mind transforms. Gratitude is a simple but profoundly powerful practice for changing the way we deal with adversity. Take a few minutes out of your day to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. It could be something small, like breakfast or a conversation with a friend. Gratitude helps us refocus our mind on what really matters. Even in the most challenging times, there is always something to be valued. Maybe it's the lesson learned, the strength you've discovered in yourself, or the support of those around you. When we focus on these things, we can face uncertainty more calmly and clearly. Overcoming these emotions is an ongoing process, which requires practice and patience. And the good news is that, over time, you can transform the way you deal with these feelings, using them as tools for your personal growth. Now is the time to put into practice what we have discussed. Start small, choose 1 or 2 strategies that resonated with you the most. Maybe it's conscious breathing or the restructuring of negative thoughts. The important thing is to take the first step. Remember, progress is built gradually, and every small advance counts. Each day offers a new opportunity to apply these lessons. By doing this, you will notice changes in the way you face challenges, becoming more resilient and less susceptible to anxiety. It is important to remember that we are, first and foremost, beings in constant transformation. These feelings that challenge us are not our enemies, but rather essential parts of our journey. Every accelerated heartbeat, every deep sigh, every moment of uncertainty are reminders that we are alive, navigating the unpredictable waters of life. Just as the river encounters obstacles in its path, we also face rocks, curves, and whirlpools. But, like water, we can learn to flow, adapting and growing with each challenge. Strength is not in avoiding fear, but in embracing it and allowing it to strengthen us. May each of you come out of this reflection with a new, lighter, more conscious perspective. May your fears be your guides, your anxieties become impetus for growth, and may you find serenity in the midst of the chaos of life. Because, in the end, it's not about what we face, but about how we choose to react. Now, I invite you to continue this journey with me. I have 2 videos that can further deepen your search for understanding and balance. Click on the screen to watch. I'll wait for you in the next video.